in my icebreaker today, I will try to answer the question, why am I here today? But in order to do that, I'd like to make you think about a childhood memory. When I say childhood memory, just think what's the first thing that comes to your mind. I asked myself this question yesterday, and maybe it was because it was the spring and sunny weather. I came to a childhood memory that comes from our cottage, and I was 8 years old and I was playing football. And I wasn't playing football with other kids because when I was 8 years old I was super anti-sportive, and I was always the last kid to be picked on the sports teams in the sports classes. But I was playing football with my grandmother. My grandmother, she is an amazing woman, and she was amazing in the way that even though she knew that I was super anti-sportive, she really wanted me to feel good about doing sports, and she wanted me to enjoy them, and she wanted me to feel that I am good at them. So besides being my sparring partner for football, she also organized, when there was in television, there was World Championship in athletics. She organized for me and my sister different disciplines such as sprints, hurdles, marathons, long jump, and we were doing our small competition in athletics. And looking back at it, I realized that this was very important for me, because if I had only the experience from school, I would just think about myself as of someone who sucks at sports. But thanks to my grandma, I had the chance of choosing, okay, maybe in some areas I suck and in some areas I'm great. That was my takeaway. Then the next thing that came to my mind was, or the next memory I had was, when I grew a little bit older, and for most of my teenage years, I was extremely shy. Just to illustrate that, as when I was 16, it was the second year of my high school. For example, I wasn't able to speak to girls at all, and there was a new girl that came to our class who wasn't there in the first year, and the teacher, he set her right next to me. And when this happened, I turned completely red, and I wasn't able to speak to her, and this lasted for about 2 months. I think she never noticed that there was something wrong with me. I think she just thought that the red is my natural color for these 2 months. And this wasn't just speaking to girls, it was basically speaking to anyone. And then when I was 19 years, I put my hands on the book that's called Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People. And I read through it, and the main message I got from that is that I could consciously work on developing my abilities to talk to other people, improving, communication skills. And I found that fascinating. Okay, it's not just how I was born, but it's what I do will change what I will be able to do. So I try to put some of these things from the book to practice. And for example, one day I was on a long distance bus from Hradec Králové to Prague, and I saw there was a girl, and she was eating peaches out of a paper bag. So I sat next to her and I said, "Oh, nice peaches, can I have one?" And of course at that moment my heart was, pumping, because I thought I'm doing something completely crazy. But she said, "Sure." And she became the first stranger I have ever befriended. And the takeaway from this was actually that, by consciously doing work, by working on your skills, that you can improve even in areas that you think that's a given. And the third thing, or the third little story that came to my mind, was when I was 22. Like all over the years since my football games with my grandmother, I became a little bit more and more sportive. And then when I was 22, I became so sportive that I became a spinning instructor. And so I was doing spinning instructions in Holmes Place and a couple of other gyms. And just for you to picture this, it's the people in the room. Let's imagine 15 stationary bikes in the room, and it's the instructor, for example me, is there on the stage looking at the people playing music. And I noticed that, for example, when I just play the music and then tell the people what to do, give them instructions, some of them, they get a little bit lazy, and some of them they become slacking. They just, relax, and they do not do the exercises fully. But I realize when I tell them, "Look, Kamil, you can try harder, push yourself a little bit more. Tomasz, just 10 more seconds. Oh, another 10 more seconds, another 10 more seconds." And when I was doing this, that they actually did push themselves more, and they performed a lot better. And my takeaway from that was that pushing people to do more, you can actually help them to do more. And putting all these three things together, I had them at the back of my head when I came to the first Toastmaster meeting I visited. And I visited a couple of times, and after a couple of weeks, it all came together. And all these three things, that is being able to push people to do more, and putting conscious work to improving your skills, as well as giving people the choice to think of themselves as being good at something instead of sucking at something. I realized that the Toastmaster is just the perfect place where I can put all these 3 points into practice. This is why I'm in Toastmaster for the past 6 years, and this is why I'm here today. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Lukash. Thanks for the inspiring words. And as we go to our next speaker, as you can